Welcome to another episode of Full Build Friday, where I try to build a character from a comic, game, or similar source using the baseline rules of Pathfinder 2nd Edition and the Path Builder app. It has been a little bit since I did a comic book inspired build, but this came by as a request over the Monster Monday Discord and I felt inclined to oblige. Spider-Man is easily one of my favorite Marvel superheroes, and until I can get him quite figured out, we'll look at some of his supporting cast, starting with the notorious Black Cat. But before we head out on our heist, let's get our plans in place. Felicia Hardy, better known as the Black Cat, is the daughter of an infamous cat burglar, from whom she inherited her skills and her penchant for thievery. An assault during her college years drove her to hone her combat skills, as well as her acrobatic ability, until her reflexes, agility, and even stamina were on par with an Olympic-level athlete. She combined these skills with an expertise in stealth, lockpicking, escaping binds, and evading alarms to become a master thief, just like her father. However, as she crossed paths with the likes of Spider-Man, she sought to gain powers of her own. This led to her seeking out a scientist who imbued her with the ability to affect probability fields, allowing her to afflict others with misfortune and bad luck. She has also obtained cybernetic enhancements that allow her to extend her nails into sharp claws that she uses to climb, and in conjunction with her martial arts prowess. It's been a bit since we've put together a proper thief, so zip up that catsuit and let's hit that straight cat strut. We start as we always do with the ancestry, and this is going to be a bit of a weird one. I'm going to stick with a human ancestry, something about it just feels right, it sits well with me, but through the versatile heritage, we gain a general feat, which will be spent on adopted ancestry. Through this, she chooses Catfolk, which lets her pick up Catfolk Dance. This is a great debuffing effect, letting her throw enemies off their step and reduce their reflex save. There may be questions as to why I didn't just go for a Catfolk ancestry. I think part of it is that I like trying to present the fact that Black Cat was originally simply a particularly skilled thief, who didn't pick up powers until later. I know, it's a little weird, but that's just the way my brain's working when it comes to this. For her background, the criminal is an easy choice, reflecting her picking up skills from her father, and it makes her train in stealth as well as underworld lore. It provides her experienced smuggler as her skill feat, which is handy for hiding away her ill-gotten gains. In what may be the most straightforward class choice I have made in a while, Black Cat is a rogue, who uses the Thief Racket to let her add her dexterity to damage with her finesse, weapons, and unarmed attacks. While it will take some flavoring, Rogue does come with some fantastic options, mainly in the form of reactions, to simulate her probability-altering powers. First of these is Nimble Dodge, a reaction to increase her armor class that I like to conceptualize as her twisting the odds to cause an opponent to just barely miss her, to have the wind or something else knock their blow just slightly off course. Now as a rogue, she does also get a skill feat at first level, which will be Catfall for reasons that I don't feel I need to explain. Naturally, she's going to be equipped with a huge array of skills. Rogue would make her trained in stealth, but she got that from her background, though she does become trained in thievery from her racket. She becomes further trained in acrobatics, athletics, crafting, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, occultism, performance, and society. With her thief racket, dexterity is going to be her primary ability score, amplifying both her accuracy and her ability to dish out damage. Charisma makes a good secondary option for her, and she still wants a drop of strength, mainly for skill purposes. We are going to slip into a martial artist dedication at 2nd level, based on Black Cat's training following her assault. She could maybe go monk, she might have the strength for it, but that feels a little too esoteric to me for Black Cat, a little too mystical. Then, through the claws of her suit, Black Cat has Combat Climber, based on her ability to scale walls with apparent ease, lending to her high-rise heists and putting her on par with Spidey. However, Stealth will be the first skill in which she becomes an expert to serve in her role as a thief. Incredible Initiative at 3rd level is always a very solid option for rogues because of their surprise attack class feature, and Black Cat in particular is always quick on the draw. Then, as I'm sure a certain spider would say, Black Cat is quite the charmer, which lends to Charming Liar as her skill feat, letting her focus on deception over diplomacy. The skill is a slightly more useful one for her compared to diplomacy, where it allows her to also feint to put enemies off guard. As for her skill increase, she will become an expert in thievery, as we are aiming for the Master Thief aspect first and foremost. From her archetype comes Tiger Stance at 4th level. The action spent to enter the stance is a nice way to represent the claws that she can extend from her enhancements. This makes for a fantastic attack that has a D8 damage die, while also having the agile and finesse traits, meaning that she can add her dex bonus to damage. As for her skill feat, she uses pickpocket so that she can nab keys and the like. She's a little too high class to just be stealing regular stuff out of people's pockets, but gear for her grander heists are all fair game. As an Olympic level acrobat, she will be taking the chance to increase her acrobatics to expert proficiency. Through her adopted ancestry, Black Cat can take Cat's Luck at 5th level. While the reroll this provides is described as her fortune, it could easily be flavored as bad luck for her foes. Something gets in the way, or the effect they created wasn't quite wide enough, didn't have quite the spread it needed to. She then uses Subtle Theft for her skill feat, making her even more proficient at stealing from others, and gets around to increasing her deception to Expert. This build then further attempts to explore the Black Cat's misfortune manifestation, with Sabotage as her class feat at 6th level. This is another case where you have to kind of squint, reflavor things a little bit, but imagining it as an enemy's weapon or item suddenly breaking when they try to use it against her fits fantastically for our feline felon. She also takes Slippery Prey as her skill feat, based on her ability to escape binds with ease, including those of her amazing Arachnid Avenger. Slipping in an athletics boost makes her an expert in it, mainly to help her climbing and jumping capabilities. I likely could have slipped Fleet a little earlier into the build than level 7, but it's one of those handy feats, especially when you're sneaking around since you need to get behind cover to do so. Further aiding that effort is Swift Sneak as her skill feat, letting her move up to her full speed while sneaking, a feat that she can only take by becoming a master in stealth with this level's skill increase. As a bearer of bad luck, our Beauteous Burglar brings Sidestep into her build at 8th level. Through this reaction, she can create a spot of misfortune when an enemy misses her to hit one of their allies instead. I personally think this is a great way to represent her powers, though it can be tough to know when to use which of her reactions. Her skill feat is spent on Tumbling Theft, allowing her to nab an item when she critically succeeds in an attempt to tumble through her enemies. It's some nice action economy efficiency while sticking with her prowess as a thief. Speaking of which, that's where her skill increase is going this level to make her a master in it. With expanded luck at 9th level, Black Cat can use her Cat's Luck for Fortitude and Will saves as well, which are at a slightly lower bonus than her Reflex, and may be more generally useful for her. With her Mastery of Thievery from last level, she can take Quick Unlock as her skill feat, letting her pop a lock and get the goods before the heroes hone in on her heist. On the other hand, she increases Acrobatics as her skill, which will make her more likely to get off a critical success for Tumbling Theft. Tiger Slash at 10th level puts some more power behind her blows, which might not exactly fit her as a more nimble fighter, but I do want to make the most use out of her stance. If you don't want to go this route, I would take Tumble Behind instead. Tumbling Theft incentivizes her a bit to use her Tumble Through, and this does so even more. Playing into her astonishing acrobatic abilities, our Moral Acquisitionist adds Kip Up to her arsenal, letting her get back on her feet almost as quickly as she gets knocked down. She continues to expand on her arsenal of skills, becoming a master in athletics this time around. Light on her feet, Black Cat takes Feather Step as her general feat for 11th level. She applies her skill increase to Deception to become a master in it, which will be useful with the Fleeing Diversion skill feat that she takes as her skill feat. It isn't a perfect fit, but there's a sad little scene with her and Spidey where she makes quite the diversion before losing him. At 12th level, she takes up Sly Disarm. This crafty criminal cat has served on the side of justice a few times, and even when on the wrong side of the law, she's faced off against more sinister sorts who are better armed than she is. This helps her fix that mismatch while also letting her afflict a serious case of Butterfingers on her foes. She'll take Quick Climb this time around as her skill feat, so that she can try to keep up with her spidery sweetheart. However, she is going to pivot a little bit with her skill increases and become an expert in underworld lore, given that she's become a gang boss at certain points, as well as her familiarity with her father's work. 13th level grants Black Cat the primary reason behind using the adopted ancestry for catfolk, the Black Cat's Curse. We've been doing a lot of flavoring for the misfortune she causes, but in this case it is an actual effect that lets her afflict an enemy with misfortune. The only issue is that it is limited to once per day, and there isn't really a way to increase that. As for her skill feat, she will use foil senses. Her most classic adversary is of course Spider-Man, and this could possibly be flavored as her figuring out a way to overcome his spectacular Spidey sense. Following the pattern from last level, she will also become a master in Underworld lore. At this point in the build, the Black Cat has a lot of valuable reactions, and at 14th level, she can use Preparation to give it an extra one each round. This is a great third action ability when she doesn't want to take the chance of rolling against a high AC enemy with her third attack, or something of that nature. As for her skill feat, Wall Jump's a fun one for her, letting quickly ascend in alleys and other narrow areas. As for her skill increase, with her other options kinda maxed out, she will become an expert in Society. While this beautiful burglar is based mostly in New York, she'll take a home in every port as her general feat at 15th level, so that she has safe houses and hideouts all over the place to make use of. Naturally, she will take her skill increase to become a legend in Stealth, which will allow her to take Legendary Sneak. This grants her the ability to disappear even when she doesn't have any cover to hide behind. I will be honest, in this build so far there's been a lot of flavoring for Black Cat's bad luck effects, but we unfortunately aren't quite done doing so. Instant Opening lets her spend a single action to make a target off guard, which I think fits fantastically with this concept. The enemy suddenly slips on something, gets tangled in their own gear, or something else of that nature. She'll take Legendary Thief for her skill feat, since there are few truer description of her than that. This obviously means that this level skill increase goes to her thievery, in which she becomes a legend. Now I do want to reiterate, it felt weird building Black Cat as a catfolk, which is why I went human with the adopted ancestry, even though every single one of her ancestry feats, including her this level 17 option, has been spent on catfolk feats. Reliable Luck simply enhances her uses of Cat's Luck, letting her use it once per hour rather than once per day, because her good luck is bad luck for her enemies. Now, while it is a little late, she will use Shadow Mark as her skill feat so that she can stalk Spidey, since she had a shrine to the guy back in the day. Felicia is a bit of a freak. Or was. Maybe still is. Speaking of which, she becomes a legend in Acrobatics. For her 18th level class feat, she will use Fantastic Leap. This plays a bit into her physical prowess, as well as the fact that she has a high-flying foe, and it actually works nicely with Instant Opening. It's hard to make flying enemies off guard. You can't feint them because you're not adjacent to them, you can't really get allies to flank them, but she can use Instant Opening on such an enemy and then Fantastic Leap at them and get that sneak attack in. To aid in that regard, she increases her athletics to Legendary and takes up Cloud Jump as her skill feat, sending her soaring into the air in an awe-inspiring display. Black Cat is certainly more agile than anything else, but the older cartoon version of her was stacked and shredded to hell and back, which lends credence to toughness as her general feat at 19th level. She's also still a mostly melee mauler, and this will help her survive in those situations. With an increase to deception then making her a legend, she can take Reveal Machinations as her skill feat, which again makes me think of one of the meaner tricks that she's pulled on Spider-Man. Now as we get into capstones here, there's two that make sense for me to use for Black Cat. Both Steel Essence and Hidden Paragon play into her capabilities as a thief without equal. Though, between them, I do think Steel Essence is just cooler and more fun, and the one that I would personally choose. Then, by becoming a legend in Underworld lore, she can take Legendary Professional, so that she can gain even higher echelons of money through her manipulation of the Underworld, possibly representing her running her own gang. That covers the core of this kitty's kit, but that just means it's time to take a look at what she's going to use in a free archetype game. Acrobat isn't a bad choice, there's some solid stuff in there and the scaling on is nice, lets her focus on some other skills. But I think, if you really want to play into her whole bad luck theme, I might take a look at the Cursed Maelstrom archetype. The misfortune and other penalties this afflicts, through her mere presence, really expands on this aspect of the character, without her having to reflavor half of her abilities. Now that we've covered the 9 lives of this crafty crook, let's take a look at what we've built for her. Felicia Hardy, the infamous Black Cat, is a versatile human rogue of the thief racket and criminal background, reflecting her following in the footsteps of her cat burglar father. The martial arts she studied following her assault comes from the martial artist's dedication, with the claws that she eventually gains emulated by Tiger Stance from this archetype. As a perennial foe and frequent friend of the spectacular Spider-Man, she tries to work around his spider sense through foil senses, and can keep up with his wall crawling through combat climber and quick climb. Being a master thief, she is a legendary professional when it comes to Underworld lore, and also has options such as Legendary Sneak, Legendary Thief, and even Steel Essence to further dive into that side of her. There's also Quick Unlock to crack safes, and Slippery Prey to help her escape her bonds, whether it be cuffs or webbing. While initially a human with Olympic level reflexes and athleticism, she eventually acquired bad luck powers, which is most directly expressed through her Black Cat's Curse, gained through adopted ancestry. However, feats such as Sidestep, Sabotage, and even Instant Opening can play into the seam as well, without stretching them too much. This classy criminal concocts and commits capers without care, confounding competitors with cataclysmic curses, but keeps a craving for a courageous, crimson-clothed combatant. It's always fun to return to comic books. They and their characters were some of my first introductions into being a nerd, and they still hold a special place in my heart. Is there a favorite comic or comic book character you have? Let me know, along with what you think of this build and what other builds you'd like to see. You can find level-by-level item suggestions for this build and more builds over on the Monster Monday blog, which is linked below, along with the Monster Monday Twitter and Discord. Thanks for watching, and have a fantastic Friday.
Till next time.
Come on, get it open! Whoever that woman was, she gives new meaning to the word knockout.